the general public that in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the Little Lake Harbor Board of Education meeting was advertised in the Asbury Park Press, Atlantic City Press, and posted at the office of the Board of Education located at 307 Frog Pond Road, Little Lake Harbor, New Jersey, and posted at the office of the municipal clerk of Little Lake Harbor. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Ciccone. Here. Mr. Filicello. Here. Ms. Lawrence.
Here.
Mr. LeShagan.
Here.
Dr. Snyder.
Here.
Ms. Martin. Ms. Erber.
Here.
You have quorum.
Okay. Can we say the Pledge of Allegiance? Stand, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Resolved that the Board of Education we already did that. Approval of the agenda. I recommend a motion to approve the agenda. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Can I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, Robinson.
We got it. Motion passes.
Motion passes.
Approval of minutes. Recommend a motion to accept the following minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Are there any questions on the minutes? Seeing none?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, public comment. Number 1, agenda items only. The Board of Education now welcomes the public to comment on the items which are on our agenda tonight. It may not always be possible or appropriate for the board to directly answer questions during the public comment period. Each speaker is allotted a maximum of 3 minutes to make their statement. No one may speak more than a maximum of once on the same topic. You are required to give your name and address before speaking. Please keep your comments respectful and non-defamatory, and maintain the level of decorum appropriate for a public meeting where minors may be in the audience. Would anybody like to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on. Informational items. Does anybody have any questions on the correspondences? Mr. Cole? Emergency drills, anything? All right, and committee reports. Well, we're not currently meeting on committees. So my update would be that the board is going to consider, have a presentation next month on the structure of the board, either committee of the whole or, going back to committee structure.
Can I make a comment? Mm-hmm. Just with this month's agenda, I think that a work session would have been helpful with the number of new job descriptions. I think there were 14 new job descriptions and 7 policies. So it was a lot, and I think it would have been helpful to go through them and discuss them, because I definitely have questions. When we get to that, I'll mention it. But I think that I know that I talked to Abby about this, and she had suggested maybe not every meeting be we need a work session, but something like this where it's such a
You can't do both, though. We have to decide. So this month, we didn't.
That was Abby's suggestion.
Yeah, we didn't have it set up, but next month we're definitely having 2. July 1st, and maybe ask the superintendent to schedule that, because we'll do a
It's July 1st.
Mm-hmm. Have to meet on that date anyway to deliver her evaluation. That's a Monday, I believe. Oh, so that's not. Somebody check the date.
July 1st,
Tuesday, sorry. That's the deadline for the evaluation. So we're going to have to, since we haven't progressed much in that process, we're going to have to meet in June one more time and July twice.
So we're going to have a work session that July also.
Correct. Any other questions? Superintendent's report, please.
Thank you. Tonight, we are recognizing our staff members who are retiring and those who have served the district for 20 years or more. The fact that many of our staff members remain in one district for a large portion of their careers is a testament to the district and the community. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to the students of Little Lake Harbor. And for those retiring, here's to health and happiness as you enter the next stage of your lives. And to those remaining with us, here's to another 20 years or more. Last Friday, I was lucky enough and very proud to attend the 6th grade awards assembly. Mr. Denning shared that there were over $3,000 awarded to our 6th grade students, in addition to the number of awards related to positive moral character. However, it is important to reiterate that success is not always measured in awards or certificates, even if it feels like it may be. Success is about the effort you put in every day, no matter how small. Especially during the challenging times, it's important in shaping the person that you're meant to become. Another grand thank you to everyone who has given their time to our students, and congratulations once again to all of our 6th graders. Continue to make us proud. Our 6th grade promotion ceremonies are scheduled for Thursday evening, June 19th, and I know that Mr. Denning has communicated with families regarding the logistics. We're looking forward to a celebratory environment with a happy and exciting tone. And finally, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, June 18th, 19th, and 20th, are early dismissal days for students, with our last day of school being Friday, June 20th. I really can't believe it. I know that personally, ending my first year as the proud superintendent of Little Lake Harbor, I can't believe it's closing in. It's been a pleasure getting to know people, interacting with our students and staff, and truly observing the goings-on, the processes and traditions that make this school community what it is. As we round the corner into summer, a combination of structured and unstructured activities for children over the summer provides a nice balance for them to process their learning, relax a bit, and get ready for the next school year. Remember to read, and read some more. No matter what you're reading, just make sure you read. We're going to do the same thing in our team. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to back up a little bit, I don't want to take the time up too much, but Christine, the email that went out June 5th about the dates for our second meeting, I don't think anybody has really replied as yet, but we do have the second meeting with regards to the evaluation. Everybody knows that, right? And the date choices, and we can talk about this later, are June 12th, the 17th, and the 18th. Put that out in email. Okay, we'll pick it up in board form, but let's move forward with the meeting. All right, we're on presentations. Student of the Month for George J. Mitchell and Frog Pond Elementary.
Good evening. The character trait for the month of May for George Mitchell was responsibility. Our first student of the month is Addison Ramona. Addison is the kind of, this is from the special area teachers. Addison is the kind of student who makes our classroom a brighter place every day. She consistently goes above and beyond, showing responsibility by staying on top of her tasks and helping her classmates without being asked. Her empathy shines through in the way she listens to others, offers a helping hand, and makes sure no one feels left out. And when it comes to manners, Addison sets the bar high, always saying please, thank you, and excuse me, making our classroom a more polite and respectful environment. Her kindness and consideration are a model for her peers, and we are so proud to have her in our class. Congratulations. Next, we have Maisie Jamison from Mrs. Visechia's class. Mrs. Visechia said, every day, Nisi demonstrates a strong sense of responsibility. In class, she does her very best, makes good choices, and is committed to her learning. Her classmates depend on her as she always helps them and does her part when working together. Maisie is most definitely a role model to her peers. Next, we have Kaden Kibitluski-McKenzie from Ms. Yeager's class. Ms. Yeager said, Kaden has been a responsible student this school year. He has followed classroom rules, helped others, and shown self-responsibility. I'm so proud of you, Kaden. Keep working hard. And Thea O'Neill, who was also recommended by special area teachers. Thea has shown incredible growth this year, not just academically, but in her maturity and emotional development. She approaches challenges with a positive attitude, demonstrating resilience and a willingness to learn from her experiences. Thea has become more independent in her work, taking responsibility for her actions and decisions. Her ability to interact thoughtfully with her peers has made her a role model within our classrooms. We're so proud of the strides she's made and are excited to see her continue to grow.
Yes. All right, good.
The children can grab a cupcake in the back if they like.
Good evening, everyone. We are here to present our May Students of the Month for the Frog Pond Elementary School. And similar to George Mitchell, we had our special area teachers make those selections this month. Our first selection from third grade was selected by Mr. Philippe, Ms. English, and Mr. Martinez. Grace Feeney. Come on up, Grace. The special area team is thrilled to nominate Grace for Student of the Month. Grace lights up every classroom she walks into with her sweet character, kind heart, and sense of humor. She's the kind of student who makes good choices even when no one is watching. Whether she's in art, music, PE, or STEAM, Grace demonstrates being respectful, responsible, and safe. She's the first to lend a helping hand and the last to complain when something does not go her way. Way to go, Grace. We're so lucky to have you in our classes. Congratulations.
All right, next award winner was nominated by Mr. Page, our amazing art teacher, and from Mrs. Baggett's room, if she's here, Natalie Cruz. Please, Natalie. Make her way down the center aisle. Come on down, Natalie. Natalie Cruz comes to class with sunshine, as we all just saw, and the sunshine is in her eyes every day. She is ready to learn. Natalie loves to be creative, and she comes to the aid of her classmates when they are struggling. Whenever you pass her in the hallways, she brightens your day with a smile and hello. The best trait that Natalie displays is that when challenged with an obstacle, she stays positive, asks for help, and soldiers on to success. The world needs more Natalie Cruzes, says Mr. Page. And that is why the special area team is proud to nominate her for Student of the Month.
The next selection was made by Mrs. Randall. Autumn Busby. Come on, Autumn. Autumn always has a smile on her face. She is one of the most kind and generous students I teach. She brings a ray of sunshine to the room when she comes to my STEAM class. She's helpful and polite, Autumn works hard and genuinely wants to see her classmates be successful. She is one of my go-to people to help me with things in class and always wants to help. I believe Autumn deserves Student of the Month because of all of these reasons and 100 more. Thank you for being you, Autumn, and congratulations.
Our next student to be recognized. This comes from Mrs. Dreyer, our music teacher, from Mr. Schmidt in 5th grade, Aurora Wardell. Sitting up front. Aurora always tries her best in class and is very helpful to all those around her. She truly soaks in the content and offers a cool perspective on the concepts with new ideas or ways to try out a skill. She's patient and understanding with her classmates, making her a great teammate and a great friend. The special area team appreciates Aurora's hard work and creativity. Congratulations.
And last but not least, from the Frog Pond School, the selection was made by Miss D'Angelo, the world language teacher, Kaylin Zielinski. If you're not see Kaylin, but here's what they have to say. Special area teachers have chosen Kaylin Zielinski from Mrs. Gallagher's class as the 6th grade Student of the Month for May. Whether in the halls or in the classroom, Kaylin exhibits the traits of a responsible student who is ready to take on the challenges of middle school. Kaylin exhibits good sportsmanship in the competitions in phys ed, her problem-solving skills in STEAM, and displays her creativity in the art room, always willing to help her teachers as well as other classmates. Kaylin is a role model for younger and older students alike. Congratulations, Kaylin, and we can't wait to see how far you will go in the future. So congratulations to Kaylin.
Mrs.
All right, cupcakes in the back. They would like a treat. I just have to say, I'm not sure whose idea that the bookmarks were or the tags instead of the certificates, but what a good idea. I think it's just they're so nice. Now we have our transportation update by Mr. Copper. Parents and families, the meetings want to go on, so you're free to go home or stay, whichever you prefer. They prefer the cupcakes. Okay, Mr. Coffer, go ahead. You have the floor.
All right, this was just to kind of go over some of the things that we did this year, some things that we changed, and some stuff that we're getting ready to do for next school year. So during a lot of the board meetings, this term kept getting brought up with the courtesy busing, which a lot of people don't understand what courtesy busing is. So what courtesy busing refers to is any student in our district that lives within 2 miles of the school that they go to, and it's their front door to the closest door to the school. And with that, so we looked at the numbers to see if we could maybe adjust courtesy busing and maybe lose a bus or two, but we have 131 students currently within the 0 to 2 miles of their assigned school. But after you take the 131 students, any student that qualifies for free or reduced lunch then automatically qualifies for busing again. So when we did that, it brought the number of students that we could potentially not have the bus to about 80. And then when I looked at the 80 students that we would consider not busing to our schools, you then have to see how they're going to walk to our schools. So we would have to have students walking down 539 or down Frog Pond where there's no sidewalks until you get, a pretty good ways down. So that's why this district has historically always bused every student for the district because there's just no safe path to get down to our schools. Also, another thing that we do is every student is assigned a bus seat. That also helps with our funding from the state for transportation. And it's also in case a child might get driven to school every day and then come December, their parents' schedule changes and now they need a seat. We have to make sure we have a seat for every kid that comes to the building. So a lot of questions that I get from teachers and even some of our parents is, and I was one of them before starting here, you get stuck behind a school bus and it feels like they stop every 20 feet to pick up a kid. And I get the aggravation of that, but what happens is when we look at routing, we have to make sure that when students are walking to what you would consider a community bus stop, that it's safe for them to get there. So if you look at, and I live by that over by this way, so if you look at like Center Street by Seacrest Nursing Home, the shoulders on that road are roughly 13 inches, which means if I don't have a bus stop more than once, we would have to have students walking down a narrow path, and it's just unsafe for students to do that. So our routing, I do go out and look at these routes on a monthly basis. I speak to the drivers when I'm at bus duty. So I'm at bus duty usually every day. I'm at bus duty. I'm always at Frog Pond bus duty in the afternoon and morning, and I'm always at bus duty for the ECC for the little guys getting there. So when I'm on bus duty, I'm not only looking at what we're doing on the grounds of the schools as far as getting kids into the building, but I do talk to the drivers and kind of ask them how the route's going. Because they're out there every day, they'll mention like, hey, if I make a different right turn, I can speed this up, and then I go back and I look at the route and see if we can make changes. So we're always looking to make sure we are doing it the best way, most efficient way possible. The state actually scores us, which a lot of people don't realize too. The state scores us when we do our state report on how efficient our busing is. And if we don't meet a certain criteria, it doesn't look good for us, and they start coming after us for funding. Next slide. So another expense that the school takes on that a lot of people may not know a lot about is called aid in lieu, or AIL. You'll see shortened in a lot of things. So aid in lieu is any student who lives in the Little Lake Harbor School District but decides to go to a private or choice school, and they're allowed to. So what happens is if they go to a private school, and as long as they live, and it's no further than 20 miles, and that's a strict 20 miles. So if they are 20.1, they do not qualify, 0 to 20. The district is responsible for paying each student that does that $1,177 per year. That is split into two different payments, $5.88 and 50 cents. That's not a district amount that we come up with, that state tells us what the amount is. And what I do is I look at, is it cheaper to pay aid in lieu, or is it cheaper to do a bus route? So we are looking at bus routes for next year. For an example, Pilgrim Academy students, we have 29 students currently, which is costing the district about $34,133 to pay people to go to another school. So what we're going to look at is if we can get a route for that same amount, or lower, we would then provide a bus, and then they would, catch a bus in Little Lake, probably 2 or 3 different bus stops, and the bus would take them down to Pilgrim Academy. That's our biggest expense as far as private schools go. We have about 8 to 10 different schools that children go to, but that seems to be our biggest one.
We do receive money from the state for that, for aid in lieu.
Part of it comes back, yeah.
I believe it's 10,000. That's allocated for it.
Historically, yes, that's about what we've taken in.
Right. And then in July, that money can go up, so that cost per student is readjusted every July. So that $11.77 could be higher.
Yeah, that number can go up. The district, I believe we budget around $50,000 for aid in lieu payments that have to go out. And that's if we don't provide bus routes. If we provide a bus route, and the students either take the bus or they just drive to school. But something about too, we do have incidents where You could have a staff member who works at Pilgrim Academy driving their own child to Pilgrim Academy, and we're still paying them $11.77. Or if they have 2 to 3 siblings in the house that all go there, every student, even though they're in the same car, we still pay $11.77 per student. But this is something that we're looking at. I'm always looking at this to see if we can, bring this cost down for the district. Some benefits. So we do have district drivers. We own our own mini buses, and the benefits are huge with these things. So our preschool program, as far as their program goes, has to take 2 field trips per year. So our buses can actually we do 90% of the field trips for the ECC, going anywhere from the library, the police station, or up to some other businesses that bring these kids up. So when we do a field trip in-house, if we have to pay any overtime rate, it's roughly $125 per trip. That's not an exact figure, it's about $125. Versus having a contractor, another bus company do it, which is typically always $550 minimum for 4 hours. Whether that trip goes for 1 hour or 4, it's $550 for the trip. So we do try to encourage the ECC teachers to go one at a time, because we can then take each class on one of our buses. So that's kind of what we're always looking at. Our drivers also help offset the cost for out-of-district transportation, which I have another slide for that, but any student who is put out of district, whether it's by the state or, unfortunately they lose residency and get put somewhere else, we have to, by law, transport them down to our district. So we try to do as much of that as in-house as possible to save our district as much as possible, and I'll go more into that in our next one. Also, our district drivers are on call. Kids come to school and 2 hours in, they're sick and need to go home. Either myself or our district drivers are then dispatched to whatever school we need to bring a sick child home if the parents don't have transportation. If mom or dad can come get them, and obviously we try to push that. But if we have to, we can bring a student home. Also, we do get incidents where a student gets to a bus stop, nobody's there to get them off the bus, and they get brought back to school at 4:30 or 5 o'clock at night, and there's no transportation from parents. We then jump in a bus and bring a student back home again if we need to. So that's a lot of what our district drivers and myself are doing on a weekly basis. All right, so this is our McKinney-Pinto Homeless Act, which some people, I didn't know this until I started working in school. So by law, any student who becomes homeless for any reason and is put anywhere outside of our town or district, we have to, by law, transport them, and there is, by law, no limit to the distance of how we transport. So if a student is an hour and 10 minutes away from here, we have to go either provide transportation for them from a contractor, or we try to do it in-house. So for 23 and 24, I started halfway through the year. But that year we put out roughly $365,000 to transport homeless or out-of-district students back into our schools. This year, implementing some new strategies and having our drivers and me adjusting some things. Right now, as of today, this is not an exact number, as of the board meeting, we're sitting at $122,000, but we are going to incur probably another $30,000 because we have not paid May or June's bill yet. So the 122 is just what we've dispersed for payment. That's not an exact, but about 30,000 more probably for between May and June will be our final numbers. So roughly, by implementing that stuff, I was able to save our district just over $200,000 for this year for our homeless and out-of-district transportation costs. And this is something that on a daily basis, I'm always looking at to see what other options are out there. We'll also, if we get 2 students kind of in the same area, we'll then reach back out and see if we can get them on the same route that we already have coming down here, because that will save our district money too.
So I have a question on that. Where it says school of origin or local area school, is this an example of someone moves away they attended school here, they move away, and then wherever their new location is, they become homeless, and we still have to transport them here, or would they go to their local school where they became homeless?
So if a student they move voluntarily and go somewhere, they can opt to go to that district, but if they're claiming homeless, no matter where they go to live with a family member 2 hours away, we still have to transport down here. Now, if they decide to go to that district, then we don't have to. It's not something we can tell them.
That's a good question. So if they register in another district, then
We don't have
our
to.
obligation is.
It's done.
But if they're homeless, then it's the last district of residence. That's why if it's 2 hours away, but they're still considered homeless and in Kennebunk, then we are the district. And that goes for the whole state. If it's someone else, if we get someone else who moves here from somewhere else whose last district was not ours, then that district is paying as well.
That's great. This was some other stuff that was brought up during the board meetings as far as our transportation contracts and renewals. So the state sets what they call CPI, Consumer Price Index, at 3.57%. So currently, our contractor is Durham School Bus Services. So with all of our routes that we pay for on a yearly basis, the big tiered contract that we share with Pinelands, that number, Durham, the contractor is allowed to raise all the rates 3.57%. Each route can get raised 3.57%. Now, we don't have to accept that. We can say, no, we don't want that, and then we have to go out to a rebid and rebid this entire district. And that's a dice you're rolling. Is the price we come in less or come in double the amount of what we pay now? There's no way to actually know. So having the CPI, especially with it being that low this year, typically it's over 5%. This year they made it 3.5, so it's kind of a win for us. We were able to keep our transportation costs, as low as we could. Because again, the rebid process is rebidding the entire district, which is something I do look at. I look at the numbers and kind of see what the best avenue for us is. And I'm always making sure that it is financially and operational for the school at the same time. So right now, as everyone knows, we do share buses with Pinelands Regional. They hold the contract or a tiered bus system. So in short, what that means is Pinelands Bus 1 and Little Lake Bus 1 are a shared tiered contract. So if that route is $60,000 for that bus to go out, we pay 30, they pay 30. It's the easiest way to explain it. Every route, it differs from route to route based on distance and time and everything else.
Could you go out to bid and still to see what's out there and still keep the current contract, or do you have to choose one or the other?
Unfortunately, you got to choose one. So I'm not even allowed to, by law, I can't even call transportation companies and say, hey, we pay X amount, can you beat this? I'm not allowed to, it's illegal. So we would have to either say, hey, we're good, or let's see what happens.
You can't shop around.
There's no way, it's illegal, I can't. I don't agree with it.
State agency.
Like, you can't talk to other school districts about what they got going on, like, with other people you know? I mean,
I can ask general questions. Some of the districts around us own their own busing. So Southern Regional, Barnegat, they have their own busing. But I'm not allowed to call XYZ company and say, hey, what would you charge us if you did the district? I mean, I could, but I wouldn't be here.
when you say roughly, like, hey, what about you guys pay, you can say that?
No.
That's that much.
Yeah. We can Oprah, you could call a district and you guys could maybe do that, I can.
It's my understanding that one of the reasons why we didn't ever try was because when we had the original contract, gas prices were lower, and we kind of are locked into that, and now gas prices are higher. Is that true, or is that?
No, I mean, the routes are, so they do 3.57%, that's just on every route, it just goes up a little bit. Some routes went up $500, some routes went up $1,200. Yeah. But what's nice is, diesel could go to $15 a gallon next month. Doesn't matter to us, we're paying the same price. Yeah. Just like if it goes to 5 cents a gallon, we're paying the same price. It doesn't drop for us.
Yeah, because like we said that, okay, we're going to try to go out, and then we try to go out, and we don't find anything better than what Durham had for us. Durham can go, okay, well, you had your chance, we're now gonna raise it up,
Yeah.
additional, and so that's kind of, where we're stuck at. Because what we had years ago was what, Murphy?
Yeah, so with what she is saying, so right now, we pay almost $2 million, not exactly, about $2 million to transport to and from school, 180 days. If we were to go out to a new bid, and Durham is $2 million now, and we have to take the lowest bid. So if we get bids coming in at 3, 4, 5 million, whatever the cheapest one is, we have to go with at that point. So Durham could not be cheapest at 3 million, but we just increased $1 million. So rebidding is a great idea, something we're actively looking at, not rebidding, but looking at the cost of transportation, and then hopefully we'll see what happens down the road.
Sorry, one more question on that. What does it cost to have our own fleet? Would we save money in the long term?
Yeah, but to start off, each 54 passenger school bus right now is probably $170,000 to $180,000. So if you start building a fleet, which is I'm all for, you gotta, first of all, it's a big startup, and you gotta have garage, mechanics, drivers with health benefits. I mean, long term, yeah, 34 a year pays off. But we start slow.
How many total buses would that be, roughly?
If we had our
own fleet.
18 to 20 big buses, give or take. I'd have to look at the routing.
Yeah,
Give you the exact
just a
number.
rough, just a rough.
18 to 20 big ones, and then our mini buses. All right, so this is something else. Our discipline procedures, kind of switching gears here, is something important for parents and students to remember that the school buses, although they don't say Little Lake Harbor on them, they are still an extension of our classrooms. So all the same rules that go in a classroom also apply to our school buses. This school year, we did implement a lot of new strategies. We had some staff members and aides riding big buses to try and curb behaviors or be an extra set of eyes. Unfortunately, we have 29 big buses and we have 5 aides to go around. So, but with that, we did try to implement some new disciplinary actions for this school year, and then I'm working with our superintendent for next year to try to come up with a zero tolerance policy for next school year. Might be a little rough in the beginning, but I think it's something for the safety of our students on a bus. It's necessary. Give or take, this year we're going to be over 1,500 write-ups for buses. That's not to say there's 1,500 write-ups for fist fighting. Some of it is they ate and left chips on the floor. But other ones are students not staying in their seats, seatbelts are off, standing on the seats. We've all done it as kids. You time the bumps when you're in the back so you can catch some air. And then I watch videos of kids doing front flips. So that's stuff that we need to look at and try to, come September, really put our foot down. It's for the safety. It's not to take the fun away from riding a bus. It's so nobody gets hurt.
Under that, you mentioned the Pilgrim Academy and other schools. If somebody gets in trouble in those routes, who does the discipline?
The school does. Where they go to does. Because that's not our student that we're handling every day.
We're paying for it, but
Yeah.
they discipline them.
Yeah.
Did you mean if we bust them eventually?
If we bust them, like those 29 students, if somebody gets in trouble,
It's still the school they go to. It's their principals and their admin who take care of that. All we're doing is we're just doing it cost effective for the district. We have nothing to do with the school program. Whatever their school times are, they handle that. We're just, instead of paying them to drive their personal cars down there, we're going to provide a bus at several locations in town. They'll jump on and take the bus down. Just as if it was a true school too.
Related to that, is that something that you're going to look further into and report back? Because, by law, we're responsible, right, to either pay in lieu or...
Yeah, so there's one or two options. Either if we can put the bid out, this is something we can put a bid out, and if it doesn't work for us, we just don't accept the bid. So if we put a bid out and they tell us the route is $60,000, but it would only cost us $35 and 8 in lieu, we just pay $35 and 8 in lieu. But it comes back at $32,000 for the route, running a bus route. Whatever the cheapest option is.
Thanks.
And those 1,500 write-ups, are they trending up or trending down?
So I haven't been here long enough to answer that for you. I could probably ask our principals. It doesn't seem like a lower number than last year, I know that. This school obviously gets more because there's more students in here, but that number 1,500 might even be low. It might be close to 2,000 write-ups. I'm kind of guessing based on what we've currently received so far. We haven't gotten the final count yet.
It just seems like an area we definitely have to focus on.
Yes.
I agree.
Interest in safety especially.
So just on that, could you just reiterate the plan that you guys are gonna start talking about for next year? Or what are you thinking about to address that?
In plain terms, get more harsh on discipline when it comes to student behavior. We're going to have to look at behavior, maybe categorize it. A student who is just being loud and obnoxious, probably not going to be suspended for several days off the bus. A student who is walking up and down the aisle while the bus is doing 40 miles an hour, they need to come off the bus and quickly. It's going to be a strain on the parents, but that's where it starts. I'm a parent, I have 4 kids in the district, and I know I wouldn't want to have to drive my kid to school every day. So I'd be at home telling them, sit and do what you're supposed to do on the bus. So that's something we have to look into.
What about the parents who do not have transportation? Because clearly you live in a district where that is ultimately going to affect attendance as well.
My first thought, they need to make a friend and get their aunt, uncle, grandparent, somebody to take it over here. At some point we have to kind of put our foot down and say either you're safe on a school bus or you're not. And I know it's hard, it's rough, or we have to look at our district drivers and maybe, then if we have aides on our mini buses, that's another option to look at too.
I was going to ask something related to that, which is when you mention a parent doesn't pick up a child, and is it incumbent upon the district to really have to bring that child home? Don't they or somebody else have to come pick up that child?
Yeah, so it's something else that we're looking into as well. Transportation during the school day is what we kind of look at, like if a child's sick or can't get home.
It's even a lot.
It
It's
is.
not typical for a district to have to even take home a sick child.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's just something that was kind of done previously, so we kind of.
Maybe we'll look at our policies in regards to that.
And Mike, out of the 29 buses that are in use, how many of them have cameras?
As far as I know, all 29. Now, they're not shot in 4K. Some of these videos look like 1980s, videos that we're looking at sometimes, and other ones are crystal clear. That's what makes this one a little bit harder too, is you can see what's going on, but you really can't pinpoint the exact student unless we get the bus drivers to know, or if we get another student who kind of helps us.
So it's not even really a deterrent. The kids know that everything's being recorded or anything.
Yes and no. We're trying to figure out a way to show what takes place on these videos. We do need to look at privacy too and not have students' faces visible. So I don't know how our IT department can come up with something to blur out faces so you can see the actions taking place without obviously seeing the student.
Also, we do not have video cameras on our minibuses to date.
Currently on our district-owned minibuses, we don't, that's something we're looking into as well. The district buses were not being used the way I've been using them on a daily or daily route bus. So that's something we're looking at grants and stuff to get cameras on our minibuses, which watches the driver and watches the students and also watches traffic outside. So if there is a bus accident, it would help us in that case as well.
How many buses do we own currently?
2.
I think that's a great idea. I'm glad you're working on the bus discipline. It's a safety issue and the students need to be accountable.
Yeah.
Honestly, sir, the videos are scary. It is absolutely unsafe to watch some of these videos, and I've been talking to Mr. Kofer about exactly figuring out a way to show our community exactly what's happening on the buses because it is completely unsafe. And so this is why we're talking about this at this point. The things about eating potato chips, okay, that's very different than literally jumping over, straddling a bus. That is unacceptable behavior and we cannot tolerate it.
Well, thank you for following through on
Just one more thing, I'm going to apologize now, Chris. But for someone like Chris, whose children do not ride the bus, and I can almost guarantee will not ride the bus, ever. I think that's safe to say, right? There's no way to account for some people whose children will never ride the bus so that we could have a smaller fleet needed. Or at least maybe give some room on some buses too so that maybe kids aren't on top of each other. Maybe help that way, but at least I'm sure we have certain people that will never, their children will never step on a school bus. And I think we are wasting funds in that way somehow.
We do. So we could have a transportation waiver form, but that affects two things. Well, it affects funding immediately because then we're not reporting as many students in November when I do our state report. But also, even if they sign a waiver in September and come November, a job changes and now we have to provide transportation, we don't have a choice. We have to make sure we have seats available. And also, when we do the routing, we actually overload the buses as far as not whether moving. In the software, a 54 passenger bus may actually have a roster of 56 to 57 kids on there because we know some of them are not taking. So we actually do utilize that when we're doing. Because the district, I believe, used to have 35 big buses, and I believe after COVID maybe is when they dropped to 29 due to both financial and I don't think they had enough drivers to run 35 routes. So we look at that when we do our routing, we overload the bus just in the rosters, 2 or 3 kids, not too many. High school level typically does 70 kids per 54 passenger bus because you have seniors and juniors driving. So.
Related to that conversation, the folks that drive all the time, I'd like to have a conversation with the board and the administration regarding pickup. I went by George Lee Mitchell and it's just atrocious. The way they line up on the road and coming from the park and, possibly considering after dismissal, after the buses get out of the way.
So these are all July and August meetings that we're going to be having to look at our parent pickup and drop off. There's a lot of logistics that go into that. It's not just a matter of saying come pick your student after school. We have to have staff here in the building to make sure that when you have 100 kids getting picked up, that somebody's supervising them.
Instructional time that they're missing.
On the topic of courtesy busing, I just had a question for our attorney. So this was one of the main line items I was looking to save some money for on the budget process at over $2 million. Hazardous routes kept coming up. All the research that I did on the government website said that the hazardous routes were dictated by what the board decides to be a hazardous route, and there's no real state guideline for what a hazardous route is. Is that accurate, or is there some kind of dictated X, Y, and Z roads are hazardous routes?
My understanding is that's accurate.
And then the other one comes to free and reduced lunch. On the state website, there is no guidelines for that. If you are free and reduced lunch, you have to take busing or you have to provide it. Are you aware of any legislation out there that requires it?
I would have to check on that one, not off the top of my head for legislation, but I can certainly look into it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cofer. Okay, now we'll move on to our staff retirements and service awards presented by the
All right, good evening, everyone. This is an exciting part of the evening where we do get to recognize those staff members with 20 years of service, 25 years of service, and of course the ones we're very jealous of, the retirees. Just a little housekeeping. We're going to go school by school and start with the 20 years of service. When that particular school staff members are finished, please stay up here for a very quick picture, and then we'll move on to the next school. When we do get to the retirees, we do have some guest speakers who would like to come up, so we'll call you up when it's your turn. First up, with 20 years of service, Mr. Danny will announce those from Frogmont.
All right, Miss Elizabeth Basquet, come on up. Nicole Heppelman. Carrie Dunay. Christopher Manzer. Janine Colombo. And Diane Yagiello.
How about you say we'll do one big group picture? Can you tag? We'll do it right.
Next we have Group Mitchell.
Jennifer Fazy, Jennifer Lorenzo, Kimberly Slick, Mary Soden, and Irene Missy Tyndall. For the Early Childhood Center, we have Kristen Brunstein.
Thank you. For the district office, we have Jackie Tresolino.
Yeah, I know.
That's it. Just that. We're guys in there. 20 years.
All right.
All right, our next group of staff members have hit the 25-year mark. First, we have Ms. Dawn Andrews. Come on up, Dawn.
20 years, bigger bag. Congratulations.
I know this person is not here, but Lori Benson. Christine Borer. Very official, Christine.
Congratulations.
Patsy Cook. Deb Fromosky. And Lori Saylor.
Congratulations.
They got homework.
While she's not here this evening, a 25-year award is for Gina Hartman, a secretary in the district. Thank you so much.
Drop it. Now it's broke. Set it down like. Lock that door tomorrow.
All right, next we have our retirees, but I know there are some staff members here that want to speak about those retirees. First, we have Ms. Claire Gallagher. Come on up, Claire. And then some of your colleagues who would like to say a few words.
Good evening, members of the board, colleagues, families, and honored guests. Tonight we gather to celebrate and honor a truly exceptional educator, Claire Gallagher, who is retiring after 24 years of dedicated service to our district. For nearly a quarter of a century, Claire has been a guiding light for students, colleagues, and the entire school community. As an English teacher, she has done far more than teach reading and writing. She has inspired young minds to find a voice, to think critically, and to express themselves with confidence and heart.
Okay, I'm going to try not to stumble, my friend. Her journey through the district has not been without its challenges. But true to her nature, she met every one of them with grace and perseverance. She taught from her heart, moved classrooms more time than we can count, worked with different teams, adapted to new curriculum, and embraced each new group of students with fresh energy and unwavering commitment. Claire is not only a dedicated teacher, she is also a published poet. Her love of language is evident in everything she does. From the thoughtful lessons she crafts to encourage the encouragement she offers her students to find the beauty in their own words. Her classroom, wherever it may be, located for years, it's always been a safe, nurturing space where students knew that they were seen, heard, and valued.
Beyond the classroom, she has generously volunteered her time to support school events and activities, never seeking recognition, but always showing up because she cares deeply about this community. She gives her all for her students, her colleagues, and this district. Her kindness, her dedication, and her unwavering belief in the potential of every child have made a lasting impact that will be felt for years to come.
And tonight we thank you for her service, we celebrate her many contributions, and most importantly, we wish her joy, peace, and continued inspiration as she begins this new chapter in life. On behalf of the 6th grade team and everyone here, thank you. You have made a difference, and your legacy will live on in every life you've touched. Congratulations on your retirement.
Next from the Frog Pond School, we have Mr. Greg Saylor. Come on up, Greg. And come on up.
I have a minute.
I'm going to try to do this. I don't think I can look at you though. How can I even begin to describe Greg Saylor and the impact he has had on his students over the past 28 years? I simply cannot. What I can tell you is that for the past 14 years, I've had the absolute pleasure of working beside him as his co-teacher and work wife. Greg began his teaching career at Brick Memorial in 1997. He spent 4 years teaching grades 4th, 5th, 9th, and 10th. In September of 2001, Greg began his career in Little Lake Harbor. He has taught 4th grade, 5th grade, and 16 years in 6th grade, with 14 of those years with me. There are many names for this great man: the Grammar God, Grammar Police, Mr. Wonderful, King Groovy, King of the Magical Universe of Learning, each one titled by past students. Greg has a truly unique style of teaching that motivates, inspires, and sparks creativity in every student. Students start the year in September with little ambition to write and an extreme fear of reading their writings aloud. His infectious love of writing penetrates the most fearful soul. By trimester 2, students are bringing in props, acting with drama, and wearing accessories to enhance their reading performance. Students have truly unique experiences in our classroom. They become doctors and persuade peeps to have a peep separation surgery. They write in their own language and wear tinfoil hats. They become poets. They write their teachers' homework excuse letters from famous people. They become actors reading dialogue sentences. They learn cursive writing. Guest speakers such as Edgar Allan Poe and Elvis conduct lessons. They write song lyrics, create a backstory for an escaped gingerbread cookie, compose radio ads for an inventive food or beverage. They become food critics of his famous cheddar chews, and they learn an enormous amount of random facts. All the while without knowing, they learn vocabulary, sentence structure, grammar, punctuation, figurative language, sensory vocabulary, vivid verbs, reading and writing, fluency, story elements, conflict resolution, theme, narrative, argumentative, and persuasive writing, conducting research and analyzing tests. I have such admiration for this man and his true love of teaching. Thank you, Mr. Seller, for inspiring all of us to write haikus, for spreading humor with cat pictures, stumping us with extensive vocabulary, and inspiring students throughout the years. You'll be greatly missed. It's time to chillax, drive off into the sunset, get in your thing, and go hunt some squash. And keep it weird. We will leave the light of learning burning for you. Haiku number 62025. The last day has come, the light of learning now dim, the legend lives on.
Our next retiree is the wife of Mr. Saylor, Mrs. Lori Saylor. Come on up, Lori. Now, I'm going to read on behalf of her work husband, Mr. DeWitt. After 31 incredible years of teaching, Lori Saylor is retiring, and what a legacy she leaves behind. She has been one of the most dedicated and energetic educators our district has ever known. Her passion for science and math was not only evident in her teaching, but also deeply contagious. Whether she was sharing her love of birds of prey, exploring the wonders of weather, or uncovering the secrets of rocks and fossils, Lori brought learning to life for her students. She enriched her classroom by inviting guest speakers who inspired curiosity and excitement in young minds. Lori is an amazing individual whose impact extends far beyond the classroom. She will be sorely missed by her colleagues, students, and the entire community. Bye, Keith. Congratulations. A late addition, we have Miss Elizabeth Saunders, and Miss Boquico was kind enough to write a few words about this. Come on up.
Ms. Saunders. When I first started teaching, I was gathered with 4 or 5 new teachers discussing how stressed out we were. Liz was in this group, and after a few minutes of listening, she cheerily chimed in, "Hey, it's not like we're going to war." I knew then and there that this was someone who I wanted to emulate. This is exactly what I tried to do. I stole everything I could from her. Any good idea I've ever had was somehow stolen from Liz Saunders. The toughest thing I had to imitate was the way she celebrated every day like it was a party. She took her children to the Dynasty Diner when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, had a cover band play in her classroom, invited a magician to entertain her students, and greeted her children with pom-poms every Friday, and the list goes on. Anyone who got a chance to interact with Liz on a day-to-day basis was truly blessed. This is especially true for her students. The way she taught should be studied by the finest universities in the country. It wouldn't work, though. How she did it can't be emulated. Trust me, I tried.
the shortest. I'm the cutest, they said.
Okay, George J. Mitchell, retirees, Kathy Farsich. Mrs. Farsich has been a cafeteria playground aide in the Lily Harbor School District for 22 years and is committed to the safety and well-being of all of our students. Mrs. Farsich is a mentor to new cafeteria playground aides by sharing her experience and knowledge. We are so grateful for all she has given to our school community and know she'll be deeply missed. Next, we have Mrs. Dino. Mrs. Citadino is an amazing teacher who has dedicated 18 years to the Little Lake Harbor School District. Mrs. Citadino has been a classroom teacher and an academic support instructor who looks at the whole child. As a result, her students have grown leaps and bounds academically and socially and emotionally. When Mrs. Citadino was needed back in her second grade classroom this year, she embraced the challenge. Her students are very lucky to have her. Congratulations, Marie, you will be missed. Lynn Cruz. We are proud to recognize Mrs. Cruz, our dedicated K-2 ESL teacher, as she retires from our district. Although she has only been with us for a few short years, Mrs. Cruz made a lasting impact from the moment she arrived. As an experienced ESL educator, she jumped right in to support our multilingual learners and their families with compassion, expertise, and enthusiasm. Her collaborative spirit and wealth of ideas have strengthened our ESL program and positively influenced the way we serve our students. It is clear how much her students adore her, and her warm presence in the classroom will be deeply missed. Mrs. Cruz has been a tremendous asset to our school community, and we wish her all the best in her well-deserved retirement. Pamela Mason. Mrs. Mason had her send-off during the October board meeting, but I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the gaping hole in the first grade team. I'm so glad that Mrs. Mason was recognized as a Philadelphia Eagles All-Pro teacher before she left. If you didn't know, she's a huge Eagles fan, and she converted a lot of her students. Even though she was leaving, she ensured that her first grade team benefited by receiving her monetary award. We have truly missed Mrs. Mason and hope that she has been enjoying her well-deserved retirement. During Mrs. Slick's 21 years in the district, I have had the pleasure of working with her in both the Frog Pond Elementary School and the George J. Mitchell School. Mrs. Slick works hard to meet the unique needs of each and every student academically, socially, and emotionally. Outside of the classroom, Mrs. Slick is our resident party planner who has planned amazing end-of-year parties for the staff. Mrs. Slick also proposed great ideas to create a positive culture and climate, such as holiday door decorating contests and underground spirit days. Our biggest school cheerleader will be missed. We wish her all the best. And lastly, Joanne Walton. Joanne Walton retired in October after 42 years of service in the district. Joanne began her career in the transportation office and was soon moved to the George J. Mitchell School. During her many years, Joanne was an integral part of the main office team. One of Joanne's most important duties was to ensure that the teachers knew daily how their students were going home. This is an overwhelming and important task. Joanne made it look easy. We have certainly felt her loss in our main office, and we are hoping that she is enjoying her retirement.
Okay, last but not least, preschool. This year we have one retiree, and that is Mrs. Cheryl Utero, who is not with us tonight. Mrs. Utero is one of our original members of the Early Childhood Center. She has shared her talents and knowledge with the preschool staff and families for 19 years. Mrs. Utero has worked as a preschool instructional coach, and in that she has supported our preschool teachers to help them provide a high-quality program. Mrs. Utero has worked hard to make the ECC what it is today, and we wish Ms. Cheryl many years of health and happiness in her retirement.
Okay, last on the list is Kim Wellfield, who's retired from the school district after 23 years of service. Come on up here, Kim, because I know how you love the spotlight and the limelight. Last chance to make you feel real uncomfortable.
That's why I work in the back office.
Okay. So first of all, congratulations. 23 years is a long time to work in the business office. Okay. There's nobody even that comes close right now who has that many years. And you've done it as a bookkeeper, then to payroll, then back to bookkeeper. So you've really made an impact. Okay. I was amazed at your accuracy at all times. Okay. And I also have to laugh about you being, well, let's put it this way. If we were to look into Webster's dictionary under perfectionist, we would say Kim Wellfield, right? So that would be the first definition, Kim Wellfield as the perfectionist. I also was amused by how sometimes, very rarely, you did make a small error. Not a big one, just a small one. But how emotional you did become, and how hard on yourself you were, over just a few pennies. I hope you'll have to relax in retirement. Okay. I also have to point out that rarely did I ever see you leave at 4 o'clock. You were always there past 4 o'clock. Your dedication to this school district, to that business office, was absolutely incredible, and it is, and certainly I am grateful for that, and I'm sure everybody else is. The funniest moment I had with you, and we won't go into detail, is when you told the story about green Jello. Never mind. He
knows the story.
He knows, I figured so. He knows the story. Okay. I know this for a fact. The staff of the business office love you. I know that you're very well respected around the entire district. You are definitely going to be missed by all, but you certainly have earned your retirement. So congratulations again.
We're going to break for 5 minutes formally, so everybody's going to get a cupcake and congratulate the retirees. Back on session.
Right.
Should I wait for the last vote?
I would wait for the last.
Okay.
If we could wait 30 seconds.
Sure.
To acknowledge Mrs. Kelly Linenfelser. Sorry, you didn't expect it, to. You have been our interim special ed director for 2 years, and I just want to acknowledge how grateful we are for what you have done. Kind of like Patty, I'm not sure you knew what you were walking into when you came through the doors. You're just like, oh, Patty, it's a great district. And usually I think of an interim as someone that's just coming in for a temporary amount of time to hold down the fort, but you really did a lot and try to institute some new initiatives and make sure we were completely compliant. And so I just want to say how grateful we are for you, and you will be missed. So thank you very much. And whatever path you take next, that district is going to be very lucky to have you. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you all.
All right, moving on to action items. Recommend a motion to approve finance items A through F. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, roll call please.
Oh, wait, sorry. Sorry. That's only A?
Page 3, A to F.
Wait a minute, this, it starts page 3 to goes to what page? That's it.
2 to 3.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Okay, man, roll call.
Mr. Sacconi?
Yes.
Mr. Filicello?
Yes.
Ms. Lawrence?
Yes.
Mr. LeShagan?
Yes.
Dr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Erber?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, I recommend a motion to approve facilities item A. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Okay, are there any questions? Already happened. Okay, roll call please.
Mr. Sacconi?
Yes.
Mr. Filicello?
Yes.
Ms. Lawrence?
Yes.
Mr. LeShagan?
Yes.
Dr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Erber?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, recommend a motion to approve school business administrators non-personnel items A through O. Can I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Yes, I have a question on I, about the loan. I understand that this is apparently something that happens in other districts. I think it's the first time in my time on the board to see this happen, that we need a loan. And is there a connection between this and the amount of surplus that we have? Is that part of the reason? Because I looked at the payrolls from the last month for May that was certified. I think it was around a little over 2 million. So I guess what payment are we waiting for from the state? And do we still have the $300,000 in surplus that we've allotted for the next school year's budget?
Yes, we do have the $300,000 that's allotted for next year's budget. We have surplus on top of that the year will end with. We don't know at this time exactly how much. When you get more towards the end of the year, you can make a better prediction on that. But this has nothing to do with surplus. It has everything to do with cash flow. We no longer have the ESSER funds, which provided us with a lot of excess cash in the bank account. So without that, if there is a delay in the state aid payment, that's almost $600,000, and the superintendent wants to ensure that we don't have an issue with making the payroll by not having that extra $600,000 in cash. It has nothing to do with surplus, simply just a cash flow.
And do we have an interest rate on this loan?
Yes, it's 6.03, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Someone asked about that.
Yeah, the state.
I didn't see the answer, that's what I'm trying to
Okay, okay, I didn't get to say it the first time. Okay, the state pays us back whatever interest costs we have to pay to the bank. The state reimburses the district.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? A through O. Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Ciccone?
Yes.
Mr. Filicello?
Yes.
Ms. Lawrence?
Yes.
Mr. LeShega?
Yes.
Dr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Erber?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, these are the superintendent action items. Recommend a motion to approve items A through G. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Are there any questions?
Yes, unless I missed this on a previous agenda, C2, the MTSS coordinators and the MTSS behavior focus. And I did see that there was because the reason I'm asking is I did see that there was a new job description for an MTSS interventionist. So is this something we've had before? And where could I look? I missed this job description for a coordinator. I only saw it for an interventionist. Is it going to be a similar concept? And I guess my question is it going to be under prep time and lunchtime? And how does this coincide with the contract? And maybe this has to be something that has to be discussed at a later time. How does it coincide with the contract, since all of those are usually allotted an hourly wage for those type of things for the new contract compared to some stipends, especially if it's going to be during the school day?
So it definitely is a stipend. The job descriptions were updated, and the other information I can get to you first thing in the morning.
Was your question, is it a new position or?
It's not a new position.
I saw the new job descriptions for the interventionists. I didn't see it updated for the coordinator, is what I'm asking.
That's right, because we have it.
Okay.
Is that accurate?
We currently have people in that role.
We have people in that position now.
Okay.
That was worked last year, and interventions are at the new position.
And that's going to be a stipend position also?
Yes. Well, yes, that's what we're hoping, yes.
And where are those funds coming from?
Yes, yeah.
What we're, once we get our federal funds, that's where they're gonna come from, yes.
So it's contingent on that. If we don't receive those federal funds, this will not take place.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ciccone?
Yes.
Mr. Filicello?
Yes.
Ms. Lawrence?
Yes.
Mr. LeShega?
Yes.
Dr. Snyder?
Yes, on everything except C1. Again, it's not personal. It has to do with regards to discussions regarding the salary track.
Ms. Erber?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, recommend a motion to approve superintendent of schools non-personnel items A through J. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions?
Yeah. I feel like I'm the only one
Abby's not here.
I missed my phone. Under job descriptions for school business administrator, board secretary, I saw that you included that it's required a master's was under your description, but to be a school business administrator, a master's is not required. It's a CPA, or I didn't write it down, but when I looked it up last night.
Did it say, I can't recall because we did so many required or preferred?
I thought it said required.
Okay, so I can go back and look at that.
Right,
The only thing that changed in that, again, we've done so many, is.
Trust me, yeah.
Right? We included technology in there because that's typically a direct report to the VA, and it wasn't in there.
Yeah, because I think some of them, you included Genesis and things like that as a specific program. But that one, because I think if you're a CPA, I think you'd be qualified to be a.
Yeah, and usually we have that flexibility, so.
And then, again, my questions with regards to the MTSS interventionists, of how that was going to work. Because I know, like, and again, maybe contracts are different, and maybe Allison, you know, like if you teach an extra class,
It's like a 6 period.
It's a 6
Yeah,
period.
that's a little bit different.
But this is just gonna be a stipend, and how does it compare monetarily?
Well, we don't do the extra periods, we don't do that that's more of a like high school thing. So, but the stipend is, for the level of work they're gonna do, it's an appropriate stipend.
Do we have a maximum amount that the stipends are allotted for ed policy?
No, I don't believe so. I
Okay,
don't
like,
believe so.
like we
Yeah,
could give someone a $5,000 salary, you know?
No.
I'm not saying that we would, I'm saying
Yeah,
that
right.
there's no limit though, is what I'm asking.
Well, the good thing is it's yearly, correct?
Oh,
So
yes.
that's something that has to be yearly approved.
We were actually going to discuss that in one of our meetings, and then we couldn't. So I will get you all the information on that.
Thank you.
Lisa, I have a question. In regards to all the revised job descriptions as a whole,
Yes.
just as a whole, like, is there a reason now we're looking at that, you know, based on your experience, you've seen in other schools, that maybe ours weren't as clear? Just wondering, in general, why are there so many revisions to the job description?
Absolutely, a combination of things. Some of it was that they were completely outdated. Some of the things that were outdated, some of the things were not clear at all. Titles that I couldn't understand what somebody was doing because I didn't understand what the title was. The other thing that they're more consistent across the board, and the other thing you're gonna see, especially in the ones in central office, a lot of cross-training is in each of the job descriptions because it's essential. We need to be able to cross-train at those levels. So it was a combination of all those things. And with the reorganization of central office, it was the perfect time to do it.
Thank you.
I know it's for the first read, the new policies for the board member and term sending and receiving districts. And there was comments in there about tuition. Does that relate to Bass River?
Any receipt,
So are we send, receive, or are they tuition?
They are, well, we receive them, but they are a tuition district based upon the tuition rates. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Because I thought this was in relation to whether or not, because I was told that they would have to have a certain number of students in our district in order for them to have a seat on our board.
Correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Okay. So.
And they don't have that number. The maximum is not met.
Right. But is that what these are referring to?
Yes, that's exactly right. And same thing, if we send a number of students to other districts, then you have, members of this community have a right to sit on that board as well.
Are these Strauss estimate recommended? I'm trying to ask if I-
They are policy updates, yes.
These
They're new.
They're new.
Right. Like in policy updates, you get new ones and you get.
Oh, from Strauss.
Yes.
Okay.
But they're not mandatory. They're not mandatory. So that's why I present them and then let the board decide if they want to do it or not.
It's first reading, so.
First reading only.
If you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to vote on it.
And if anybody has any concerns, as you can go back and read them, please get them to us because we'll update that for the next meeting.
Right, we also have another month to review to say yes or no.
Yes.
So. Okay, any other questions? Okay, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Saccone.
Yes.
Mr. Filicello.
Yes.
Ms. Lawrence.
Yes.
Mr. LeShega.
Yes.
Dr. Snyder.
Yes.
Ms. Erber.
Yes, except for J, 1 and 2. I'm going to abstain just because I'm not familiar enough with the policies. Sorry.
All motions carried.
Okay. All right, moving on to new business. Is there any new business anybody would like to bring up? I wondered if the board wanted to discuss the new policy regarding paras. Willingness to do so.
Do you need a motion to follow it?
Well, no, I just thoughts on that.
Are we going to outline what the policy is?
There is no policy.
Yeah, no, we need to formulate, but I'm just getting the willingness of the board. Like, what is your wish to move forward with that? I know we've been discussing it a long time. In terms of,
and if there's a policy committee down the road, that might be something for the committee to look into as well.
but if we're board as a whole, we do it as a whole. We can do it another time.
I mean, do you want some feedback on it? Oh, that's what I did. I missed over it. And I already approved it.
You can still speak in board forum too.
Just might have something.
Okay, we won't have a second executive, but what I do need to find out from this board is what meetings work for you in terms of the 3 dates in June that I gave, just so we can wrap up an executive portion for the superintendent's evaluation, and no action will be taken, but this will be a second June meeting.
You said the 12th is on the table for Thursday?
12th, the 17th.
I would go with the 12th. I mean, because the earlier in the month, the better for me.
Can we do
But
like
if we
a 5
haven't
p.m.?
completed the evaluation yet, I don't know that I can get it done in time, and then they have to formulate it to you, right?
They can turn it around in minutes, actually, but can we finish it in 2 days?
My son's graduation is on Friday, so I'd really rather not do something this week.
Just say, tell
I could do the 18th. You said the 18th was on another?
Yes, the 18th is a date. And the 17th, I think.
I can do the 18th.
The 18th would work for me.
That work?
Yeah.
12th, 17th, or 18th. I think Abby said the 18th would work for her.
Honestly, the 17th is always, anything on Tuesday is always the best day for me. If you did on the 18th, I would just have to arrive late. If that.
Well, we can make it later. You don't have to.
I have an obligation from 5 to 6 on that Wednesday.
Okay.
So I could come after 6. It's hard for me to come before 5.
Okay. Is everybody okay with 6 on the 18th?
Yes.
Yes.
That work for you, John?
Yeah, at 6 p.m. Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay, for everybody? Again,
That's fine.
Okay.
But to be clear, you did say we're meeting on July 1st too, right? Just so I have it down
Yes,
properly.
because we have to meet with Dr. Antunes in discussion of that evaluation. And then we would make that our work session as well, if that works out with the administration, to make our work session for July. And then we're not meeting with Justin, the representative, to discuss Cal versus committee. I know this board voted on it, but some people are still unsure. They seem to want committees as well as the Cal, and you can't do both.
Well, can you have ad hoc committees? I think that's what Abby was interested in addition to being board as a whole.
But ad hoc means once or twice, and, you don't have them on a regular basis, only as needed. So you don't have a monthly personnel meeting, in other words.
Yeah,
I
point
don't
was
have
to
I miss
reduce
my
the amount
policy
of
meetings, I'll tell you that, but we won't have that.
Yeah, I mean, because like 1 week we would have 2 meetings plus a board meeting, so that would be 3 meetings a month for most of us. And then I just think that if we're all sitting around together in a workshop, we could all sit and look at the policies together. And we would have had a good understanding, and we could we could give the feedback right then and there if there were things that wanted to be added, cut down the amount of emails, correspondence, and I personally think a discussion among everyone is productive.
It's what the pleasure of the board is. I just want to find that out for sure, because it seems like we're trying for a mix right now.
And is that, I'm just asking, is that allowed? Like, we can kind of form our own hybrid version of the board, can we?
No, because the administration works for 2, if you want a CAB, right, committee of a whole, they have to have 2 full board meetings, publicly announced, and you have that full session then they have to have the agenda ready earlier in the month. So twice, right? They prepare for the agenda, we discuss it, it's public, as you know, and then you have another meeting. So it's a lot of preparation, and then you can't just say, oh, well, we want to throw in a committee meeting here, or a committee meeting there. That's also an obligation of the administration, that they have to meet with us certain times. And the whole purpose of a COW is to avoid the committee meetings. Unless you need one, personnel-wise, policy sometimes, but.
I was under the impression that New Jersey school boards did not recommend personnel committees.
They call it human resources, I believe. I have the paper, but I passed out code of ethics for school board members, the board's roles, and the superintendent's roles, just for everybody's edification and while we're doing the evaluation process. But yeah, they define it as human resources. I just looked over that paper. Any other questions before we move on to public comment? Okay, we are at that portion, public comment. So let me just get it right on record. We did say June 18th, right? 6 o'clock. Okay, thank you. Public comment. The floor is now open. Members of the public. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues. The board requests that each statement made by a participant is limited to 3 minutes, as cited in policy 0167. There is a sign-in sheet located on the podium. Please sign in before you speak. Would anyone like to speak? Yes, sir.
Good evening, my name is Matthew Smith. I'm the father of Ronan Smith. His stepmother is Gianna Smith, and his mother is Erin. Gianna, my wife, is extremely active, as we all are, in his school, daily life, everyday life. She's very active in school, classroom, does parties and stuff like that. Yesterday afternoon, I was excluded from the pizza with the principal, while my son's mother and my wife attended after I was told by Mr. Nazarek all 3 of us could not attend. Throughout the year, he always preaches that we do what's in the best interest of the child. Best interest of the child. That's all you hear. I don't know how alien one of their parents is it within the best interest of the child. We explained the court order in the beginning of the year as well. So they are very aware of the court order. My days are my days, the Mother's Days are Mother's Days. There's no interfering on those days. I'm not sure what credentials Mr. Nazarek has to blatantly disrespect the court order and put me in my place, or what's really in the best interest of the child at that point. For many children, especially my son, step-parents are more than just spouses or biological parents. They are caregivers, mentors, and emotional pillars for all these children. Excluding them from school events can send the message that their role doesn't count, which can be hurtful for both the child and the step-parents. By allowing more than 2 adults per child, we show that our district values all families. It removes unnecessary bureaucracy in situations where multiple adults share legal and practical parenting duties and signals that we recognize and respect blended and extended families. Allowing additional parents or guardians to attend events doesn't require a major policy overhaul, just flexibility and trust. It can make a major difference in a child's emotional and well-being to have their key supporters present in these important moments, in these academic achievements. This is not just about stepmoms or stepdads, it's about acknowledging that love, care, and parenting aren't always confined to traditional roles, and that our schools can and should reflect understanding we teach our children to involve everyone and respect everyone in the classroom, to make sure everyone is invited to birthday parties. So why are they teaching them that this is okay to exclude step-parents? In the beginning of the year, we came in and we were told, if you can't invite everybody in the class to the birthday party, do not send invites to just 1 or 2. That's exactly what just happened last night when one of the parents was excluded, which was me. No child should have to make that decision. I understand logistics can be tough, but again, there needs to, it's not rocket science. We got to have the flexibility here. We got to allow more than just 2 parents to be able to come here. When these academic achievements are met, and there has to be some flexibility. Thanks.
Thank you for your comments.
Mr. Nazarok from the Five Pond School. So I typically would not think this is the forum or this is really the time to speak after a public person speaks. However, in light that my character is attacked and much of what I just heard is completely inaccurate, I'm going to give you a different perspective. In our district, we are proud to host many, many events where community members are invited. And depending on what that event is, we do not have room for every parent or every adult that is actively involved in a child's life to attend. It's a matter of space, it's a matter of logistics, as the previous speaker said. So certain events are certainly open to more than just 2 adults. Other events are limited for space reasons and other reasons that we have to factor in. When we do have a school event, we do not ignore court orders. We do not ignore the law. What we do say is, if it is a school event, we may limit that to 2 adults, and then we leave that up to the parents to decide who those 2 adults were. In no way was any adult excluded. If there is a parent who did not come to the event in question, that was their choice not to attend. Nobody from the school district of Little Lake Harbor, not myself or any other adult, told any parent, you are not permitted to attend said event. That was the decision of the parents themselves. Now, there are other events where we can welcome more than 2 adults that are involved in a child's life. I will give you an example of an event where things are limited. Next week, we are going to have the joy of seeing our grade 6 students off to Pinelands. Due to space reasons and logistics, that is not open to every parent involved in every grade 6 student's life. We have a limit on how many parents can attend that particular event. Field Day, which was a wonderful event, is not open to every single parent. We have a limit for safety reasons and others. So while I respect the previous speaker, and we certainly see it differently, I hope that you can also take into my comments into consideration, because unfortunately, some of what I heard was completely false, inaccurate, and really disrespectful to me in the school.
typically don't
Yeah.
do back and forths.
The policy is not on the same subject, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I have to come back at the next board
We,
meeting.
we will defer to the administration on this, and yes, you can come back, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to board forum. Anybody have any? Oh, I'm sorry. Anybody else in the audience want to speak? I'll see our administration. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Seeing none, moving on to board forum. Anything for the good of the group? I do want to clarify July 1st. Dr. Antunes, you'll check that out as a work session for us. And then executive, we would have to write to the superintendent and discuss. No, I'm sorry. It's next meeting in June. We're going to have to write. No, we discuss her evaluation with her. July 1st is final and it's due.
But that doesn't require a rise notice? No?
I got a little lost there.
Sorry.
The July 1st meeting to discuss.
Her results of her evaluation, does that require a rise notice?
Yes.
Yeah, so both need a rise notice.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so we have June 18th, sorry, and July 1st as our first sort of cow month, committee as a whole. July 1st.
We have to call it a cow every time.
Sorry, that's what the New Jersey School Boards calls it. What would you like to call it?
Board is a whole meeting?
What is it called?
Call it about.
Board of the whole. Okay. Anybody want to speak?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So first I want to give all of those teachers who retired
Oh, you need to, are you on there, Craig?
I am on, yeah.
Are you?
There we go.
There you go.
So I want to give all those teachers who retired a huge congratulations. Those stories were just great to hear the impact that you have on each and every student that you guys touch. One thing that I did want to talk about is, as we heard tonight in the transportation speech before, which was a great presentation, I just wanted to see if there was any board appetite, especially at over $2 million line item, if anybody wanted to revisit courtesy busing. So we heard from the board attorney, you don't have to provide to people under 2 miles. The board sets what a hazardous route is, and people with free and reduced lunch are not necessarily entitled to it under 2 miles. I think
Can I interject for a second? It kind of cuts us off your nose to spite your face, because then it lowers our numbers, and so then it cuts our funding also, am I correct? So while you'll be saving busing, but we'll get less money.
Okay, right after I finish. So I just wanted to see if anybody wanted to get maybe some kind of study done to see if we can save any money. Just because we're taking them off the bus, then the parents, if they would like to elect, they can pay for the busing. I'm sure there's different ways to go about it, but I think we could save a substantial amount of money or bring in money by addressing courtesy busing. And then if you have anything to say to that.
I mean, I don't know how much a study would cost, and I know we did a study for shared services and regional, you know what I mean?
Well, we did a committee group on transportation.
Yes, and it didn't really.
Although I appreciate his questions,
Yeah.
because I, for one, thought that was a legal requirement for the free and reduced, and you bring up a good point that you don't see that in the law. And the other thing is, in light of all parents that do transport their own students.
But they're saying that if then they say they need a spot on the bus, then we have to give it, so I don't understand what we can really do to help ourselves. I mean, I don't know.
I'd like to know the reimbursement rate and stuff like that. Maybe you guys learned that on the transportation committee already?
I don't
We didn't
remember.
get a lot of feedback on that.
I'm not sure what by reimbursement rate.
So we get
State aid.
state aid
Okay,
from the
that's-
spots on the bus. Is that correct? Is it substantial?
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head how much we get per student, but that's easy to figure out because we can just take the transportation aid divided by the number of bus riders.
I mean, the place to save it would probably be the ECC too, where we do not get, like, we have to provide it out of our own budget, correct?
Yes.
So that's where is a good spot to try to save money. is on those routes, because those we're financially responsible for. They pay for the education of 3rd and 4th graders, mainstream, not special ed, but we are required to provide the transportation. So if there's some way to cut those routes.
Well, I thought we did get reimbursed on those, Mr. Green. I thought I asked that question this go round.
Okay, so the state used to provide all the funding needed to transport all the students in preschool. About 3 years ago, they cut back on that and limited the amount that you could spend on transportation. The balance of it has to be covered by the districts.
Is that substantial?
Somewhere around $250,000.
Also, just as an aside, if we're going to do subscription busing, which is, it's have a parent pay for the seat on a bus, we're looking at about $400 to $600 per student. So Mr. Cofer said he's got 4 children. It'd be, depending upon the route, $400 to $600 per each child that he has for that bus. So we want to keep that in mind in a district with an almost 50% free and reduced lunch rate, the number of parents who would be able to afford to pay for subscription busing. Just something to keep in mind if we're going to do a study, that's all.
And I don't know if I'm understanding this with the safe route part of it, but so you're saying anybody that lives within 2 miles, they would just have to get to school. I couldn't imagine with the way the roads are and all that traffic in the morning and afternoon of asking kids to walk down the road to get to school where there's no sidewalks and people are going into people's driveways, from what I've been told, to make U-turns and whatnot. I would be afraid to see what that mess would make.
And for me, taking the 32.5% tax increase and then asking a parent of 4 children to pay another $2,400 potentially to bus their kids to school, I couldn't do that on top of
Well, I think the big
did.
part is trying to get our financial ship in order for next year. So we want to do anything we can to protect ourselves financially. Where can we save money? We're very limited, as we know now. It looks like busing over to $1 million line item. We do have something readily available at our fingertips. I think it's worth exploring.
Going back to the busing, when Mike said that we're talking about the $2 million, I was doing a little bit of math in my head, and we're talking about $180,000 per bus if we were to purchase a bus at 18 to 20, which would be $3.6 million total, roughly, okay? With that being said, we're gaining an asset over time, which is a bus, a vehicle, part of the school. So it's something I think I would personally want to look more into, and I'm not sure if any other board members would want to look into something like that. Maybe Mike could get us a breakdown. Maybe we could do it gradually, talk about it gradually, picking up 5, 6, 7 buses per year. And that would ultimately save us money because we own the asset and we're not giving $2 million a year for nothing.
So I just had a conversation with Mike either last week or yesterday, I don't remember when it was, about an implementation plan, a 3 to 5 year transportation implementation plan to present to the board at the end of the summer, or the beginning, or in the fall, to talk about doing basically exactly what you're saying. I wouldn't recommend a full fleet for Little Egg Harbor, but an increase in the number of buses that we have, which will also increase some other things, as he said. But exactly, I'm sorry.
Well, I was just saying, where are you going to put them?
Right, all those things, that's exactly
We
right.
don't have the land to put them anywhere.
There's a lot across the street.
You're going to need the garage.
Yes.
What did you say?
I said there's a lot across the street for sale.
And what about the field? I mean, I know that was not really being used. Could that be a possibility?
We can look at all of those things as possibilities, sure.
But to answer your question, Greg, for myself personally, I would not be interested in cutting courtesy busing, mostly because I don't want to be responsible for someone, God forbid, walks home within the 2 mile district and gets into an accident or gets injured. We've already said about people complaining with the parent pickup. Now we have kids mixed into that walking. So no, I would not have an appetite for that.
Yeah, because also too, you generally used to have, if your kids took busing, they could, my kids would be off the corner, I'm 2 doors down, when my mom was there, she could stand there and see the kids coming from the bus to the house. I mean, asking kids to walk a distance. Now you're going to potentially ask parents to have a sitter or ask someone to pick them up from the stop. And I think, COVID is still fresh for a lot of people, like trying to figure out childcare during those times. And so,
I see your point there, but the extra busing that we're doing, I think we really have to reel that in a little bit, because we're doing things that, just out of the kindness of our hearts, that it's costing us extra money, extra drivers, things like that.
I agree.
Yeah, so parents, need to be aware of that. But I like your idea, Greg, of revisiting, and John, maybe just reevaluating how we could save money.
Yeah.
That's a big line item, like you said.
It's a huge line item.
Yep.
Yeah.
And going out for bid, I mean, might be worth taking the risk. I don't know.
Definitely gambling on that one.
Yeah.
You're definitely black or red on that. That's really what
I'd rather gamble on putting assets into school.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
That's it.
Okay. Anything else for the board? Oh, we can follow up on that. There's an ad hoc committee. We can definitely have an ad hoc committee. We want to look into that more. And I'm going to look into the policies on transportation, just for the disciplinary things we were looking into. Yeah. So I could follow up on that, but.
So I'll go next.
Go ahead.
And just because you mentioned that, Mr. Grover did a great presentation. And one of the things I wanted to throw out there is potentially, every summer we come up with board goals or district goals. Maybe we can look at that 1,500 write-up number and make it a goal to reduce that somehow, or to really address that issue in particular. I know in the past we've addressed special education and having kids integrated in general education. We've looked at math scores, reading scores, but it seems issues on the bus keep coming up and they've never really shown a light on it. And maybe now's the time to address that. So just something to think about as far as the write-ups on the bus. Just a couple other things. I just want to applaud people like Matt and his wife and Ronan's mom. I know them personally, but I know there's a lot of parents out there that want to be involved in their kids' lives, that they come to the school every chance they get. And I've always had this question over the years. My wife and I, we try to go to a lot of events, and sometimes there are only 2 people allowed, 2 parents. And then we go there, and there's only like 3 parents total. And I just want to, in general, understand that is it up to the teacher in the local, like in the classroom events, is it up to the teacher if they say, hey, whoever wants to come, we can only accept 2, then only 3 people show up? Are they allowed to open that up to more? I understand the space, but I think a lot of times when I've asked about this, the teacher said, well, it's just a hard, fast policy. It's 2 people, 2 people, 2 people. So I'm just throwing that out there. I know it's a district-wide question because each building's different, but just in my own personal experience, my wife and I both would want to go to an event. Only one of us could go, and then we get there, and then we would, oh man, we could have went because there's no other adults here. So that's just something.
Perhaps the RSVP. I don't know if they do that here, but RSVP would be nice.
Can I ask something on that topic, Chris? So, for example, say if there's a classroom party and that event is going to be, let's throw out a time frame, 3 hours, right? Or 2 hours. Could there be something in place possibly where the parent could switch with the other parent within that time frame? So like you get an hour, you get to go into the party, enjoy it, and then the next parent would come in and basically take that next hour.
Very good idea.
And, I just say that not to get into the weeds of it, but I think there might be some confusion as to who has the authority to make that final decision.
Typically, it's up to the building administrator.
Okay. So if that's just clear, if teachers do have the flexibility in certain situations, then just so that they know that. I do also want to thank everybody with the 20 years plus service. There's some people retiring as well. No matter how you got here, thank you for all your service. I gave a speech recently regarding the difference between good teachers and great teachers. And, good teachers make sure you want to succeed in school. Great teachers want to make sure you succeed in life. And there was a lot of great teachers that are unfortunately leaving our district for whatever reason, but I just want to say thank you for your service and all the kids that you touched and mentored over the years. Our district is definitely better for it. And special thank you to Kelly. She, when she first came on board 2 years ago, she came out to our CPAG, Special Education Parent Advisory Group event in the summer. We had a sort of like a play date with all the kids in the special ed program at the local park. And I remember Kelly came out and introduced herself to all the parents and to the kids. And she didn't have to do that, but she wanted to come out and show that she was 100% committed to our district. And over the past 2 years, you've shown that you brought your 25 plus years of experience of special education to our district, and I think you've made it a lot better. So thank you very much. And Dr. Charles Eidler, welcome to our district. You have big shoes to fill, so I'm hoping you're taking some notes right now as you're sitting next to Kelly. But we do have a very passionate group of parents who have kids in special education program, myself included. My son Mateo has Down syndrome, and we advocate hard for our kids because we really care about them. And I know this district has a lot of caring parents that will demand the best for our kids, and so I just hope you're prepared for that. It's nothing personal, but we want what's best for our kids, and we want to work with you in the district to make sure that they get the best education possible. So, but I just wanted to welcome you as well.
Thank you.
Dr. Antunes, you said about read over the summer. I'm a huge advocate of reading. When my son Mateo first came to the district, we made it a goal since he was 10 months old to read 1,000 books to him before kindergarten. There's like a nonprofit organization called 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. My wife had found it, and by the time our son stepped into kindergarten, we had read over 7,000 books to him. And we really attribute his success early on to reading to him. Sometimes it's the same book over and over, but it's just that time together and those words being spoken to them over and over that really does make a difference. And I think our school and the local library has teamed up to offer rewards for kids that participate in that program. It's called 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. Every time you read like 100 books, you can print off something and take a picture with your kid and put it on Facebook and celebrate that. And they go all the way up to 1,000. So that's a really good program, 1,000 Kids Before Kindergarten. It's something that parents can strive for. And then finally, Mr. Saylor, I know he's not here anymore, but he definitely inspired me to write a haiku for the next meeting. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll go. I just wanted to shout out to Tiffany Middlecoop, who is stepping down at the end of the month from the PTO. I don't know how she does what she does. I've had the fortunate or the pleasure of working with her where she's done some things for us over at Pinelands with the Wildcat Shack. I always see her out in front of Walmart selling the cookies with doing the Girl Scouts, but the things that she's done for this district, and with her, her crew in the organization, just beyond commendable. So I really do feel like she deserves a little bit of a shout out before she ends her tenure this month on, I believe it's the 30th. And then I just wanted to say congratulations to all the retirees. My light at the end of the tunnel is getting a little brighter, we're getting there. So very happy for them and for all of those that have had the milestone years in the district. And then finally, just wish all the teachers and the staff a nice summer, great summer. Take time to recharge, spend time with your family. Try not to think about school until maybe the middle of August. I don't know. I never make it past July 15th. But yeah, and just everybody have a great summer.
Thank you, Allison.
Okay, I would also like to thank all of those for years of service, however many years of service you have at the district. It takes a lot to teach and to come in, and the children of today are not the children of 5 years ago, or not the children of yesterday. So it's definitely different, and we greatly appreciate you. Also, I believe it's Mrs. Yurturo. I believe we used to do the Week of the Young Child back in the day. That's when I started in the district in volunteering. So I wish her well in her retirement. And Mrs. Saunders, she also made my daughter an Eagles fan, which my husband was not very happy about because she was there the year that they got to go to the diner for the Eagles victory. So I wish her a very happy and joyous retirement. As for the teachers that are coming in for summer school, I want to say thank you. It takes a lot to come back after a quick turnaround. You think, okay, I'll have a week or two off, it'll be good. I'll come in refreshed. Speaking from someone who had a week off in between semesters, it goes by really, really fast. And sometimes you think, oh, what was I thinking? But we very much appreciate you, the kids appreciate you. And speaking as a parent who has had children in the summer program, it's a great program, and they really do enjoy what you do, so thank you. And have a wonderful summer. And everyone try to do something on your bucket list. And for those of you, we'll see you back in September. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I ditto the congratulations to all the retirees and the people who served so long in the district. It's truly phenomenal. And I just want the teachers to realize that we do appreciate them and we do have their backs in terms of advocating for discipline and advocating for classroom management, because I don't know that I could do your job, what you do on a daily basis, especially with the amount of kids in the room. I have a niece who's a 5th grade teacher. She tells me all the time, she's mostly managing behaviors. So, you know, we do get it, and we're trying to advocate on our end for the betterment of the schools, betterment of the students, maybe some parent education I was thinking of too that might help. But we need to support our teachers and the students. I think that's it. Our next meeting is June 18th. And we're not going into a second executive, so can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.